Welcome to Passion of the Soul with me, Ellena Lieberman, the new power hour for your consciousness. This is the space where you awaken to your authentic potential, the truth of who you really are. Here, we open the mind and heart and tune into the essence of the soul, the force that fuels your entire being and invites miracles into your life. Each episode inspires you to respond to the layers of potential within you and bring your unique legacy into the world. As you listen and watch, you'll discover that you can be the answer to your own quest. Get ready to tune into your innermost voice and live in alignment with your highest truth. Passion of the Soul starts now. Hello, I'm your host, Ellena Lieberman, and you are listening to Passion of the Soul on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us this hour and let us help you experience the new power hour for your consciousness every first and third Thursday of the month, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will have some of the most brilliant visionaries, artists, healers, and authors who have walked miraculous journeys inspiring you. Tonight is episode 14, direct from the Akashic Records, an hour where the soul speaks. Tonight we're going to do live, spontaneous Akashic Records consultations that explore the innermost heartfelt questions. And then we're going to go on and answer a larger question that the whole world is currently looking at. And finally, we're going to take a look at, can the Akashic Records open us to wellsprings of creativity? Tonight, our guest is Roni Reisler, visionary artist and co-founder, manager of Akashic Records Consultants International, LLC. I am also another co-founder. Roni and I are sisters, and we started working and being trained in accessing the Akashic Records in 1990. For Roni, art is another way of accessing and conveying the divine. It is a reflection of sacred energy, and she has spent decades studying and teaching. Roni's work with the Akashic Records has never been confined to teaching alone. In 1998, she received her first certification in mandala creation, an art form that became deeply intertwined with her spiritual practice. She began using the wisdom of the Akashic Records to guide and inform her artistic expression, creating mandalas that carry the vibrational essence of the Akashic field. Let's welcome Roni to our show.
Hi, Ellena. I'm thrilled to be here again. It's such a delight, and I so appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for having me on again.
Well, it's a great pleasure to be able to have you on the show again. And before we begin asking each other questions through the Akashic Records, I want to go back for a couple of seconds and answer some questions. You know, we've heard these questions for years, but suddenly they've like reappeared in the last 2 weeks from people and people taking consultations. So I'm going to answer, then Roni will give an answer about these questions that keep coming up more recently. The first question that came up in the last 2 weeks was, a man came up to me and said, are you reading something? You're reading something? Are there books, like books in the sky? What exactly is this? Well, the answer is there are no books. The Akashic Records, even though they're called records like books, someone once said to me, do you dance to this? Because they're records, incidentally. I thought I'd throw that in. But the Akashic Records are actually a vibrational field. It's part of the quantum field, a word that's used a lot more these days, and it's in a certain frequency. So when we access, we are actually expanding through a sacred prayer into that frequency and receiving what we call information from it. Now, this information is, in a sense, way beyond us, but it was emphasized to us, it's also inside of us. This is an important concept because it's in the resonance of the subatomic level of our own cells. But that's a transcendent field that does not know a boundary. So there is a sense that the wisdom which is being emphasized is coming from something beyond and stepped through from a weave, like a carpet, coming from a higher level, and we're in a little more dense level, and it's stepped through to us, and we're able to receive the information. We access it actually through the crown. The crown extends, moves into the heart, and it expands from there. And we receive this information in unique ways for us. So, Roni, do you want to go on and explain it further, please?
Well, through the time and an experience of teaching and working with the records over the years, what I have discovered first, which we might do well to share with everybody, is that everybody accesses the records in different ways. And some of that has to do with our own personal vibration, our own personal frequency, and how much inner work we've done for ourselves. But I do remember that when I first learned how to do this, I only saw small little images, and the best way I can describe it is behind my eyes. I could see it, but it was not in front of my eyes. It was behind my eyes. As I practiced and worked more with our teacher, Mary Parker, and you and I worked together, that began to expand. The images changed. They filled out more in my being. And then I began to see words, hear sounds, and feel in my body. So the information comes through on a lot of different planes. And sometimes what questions you are answering or where you are looking has to do with that reception. But to say that it's actually a book, no, it is not. It is definitely an energy frequency, a vibration, and a connection with, one might say, the higher self, the universal voice, the divine presence. There are lots of terms for that. But certainly in our teachings, what we learned is that there was a time when mankind could do this, and our relearning this process is actually remembering the ability that we had originally in our formative development as human beings.
Yes. Yes, I think that's very important because we're returning to our authentic self,
Yes.
that we are able to extend ourselves and expand and really move into this, to emerge into it. And it is part of our own sacred development. So thank you with that, Roni. I just want to ask you, let's take a look at this for a second. This really came up big in the last 2 weeks. Is this channeling? Is this channeling? Let me quickly say that this is not channeling, and let me explain what I mean. It has been emphasized to us that there is no other entity, energy matrix, being that comes through us at this time. We are meant, as we have just said, to integrate and include our whole personality, which we move into neutral, but it's still us. We keep our eyes open at all times to see what's around, and we expand into it. The goal, as we mentioned, is to have this available to us in our full waking consciousness. So there's nothing that steps out and something else steps in. So do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, Roni?
I would agree with that answer. And also, I am aware that there are different kinds of styles of channeling as well. And a good example is Edgar Cayce, who was one of the early people who began publicizing his information, which was from the Akashic Records. He would go into a trance. And in that case, his eyes were closed and he had people by him. He had a conductor and a secretary sitting with him as he went into this trance. Now, when he was in the trance, he was not present. He did not remember, according to the literature that I've read, what he said. So fortunately, the conductor and the secretary wrote all these notes, and that is how all his wonderful material was finally published, gathered up and published. Our teacher, Mary Parker, stressed one important thing, and that was this. The reason why our modality is unique is that being absent as a channel, we use the word channel, meaning we are a conduit, allowing the information to come through, but we are present and awake so that we also learn from the information. It is for our development to do this, as well as to assist someone else. And if we're doing a consultation, someone is actually sitting across from us, we are connected visually with that person. Our eyes are open.
Yes.
We are both present with each other. And
Yes.
so all involved are learning at one time.
Thank you, Roni. That's a wonderful explanation of what we do. And right now we're going to take a little break. It's time to go on the break. But before we do, I want to give everyone Roni's information so that you can get in touch with her. So Roni, please give your information to our listeners.
Well, thank you. Right now, the best way to contact me is through my email address, Roni@mandalaofthesoul.studio. My website is now up, but it is not complete. However, you may visit it to get an idea of some of the mandalas that are going to go up on the web. And the web URL is mandalaofthesoul.studio.
Well, I'm Ellena Lieberman, your host, and to contact me, you can just go to dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. And I'll be happy to share information with you about the Akashic Records, consultations and classes and specials. I'd love to hear from you. You're listening to Passion of the Soul with Ellena Lieberman. And when we come back, we're going to be diving deeper into the Akashic Records for a real consultations and sometimes using grace and prayers if they're appropriate. So we'll see you soon. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
What if Sanctuary wasn't just a place, but a way of living? Tune into the Sanctuary Network every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern with me, Mary Ellen Popick, for inspiring conversations featuring thought leaders, healers, authors, and everyday seekers, plus voices from the Sanctuary Marketplace, spotlighting the community that makes this movement thrive. This isn't just a show, it's your sanctuary. Visit thesanctuarynetwork.com for more information.
Available now, Ascendancy Awakened by Pankaj Singh. Surprising way to successes by leaders unleashing potential and taking command. When was the last time you checked in with yourself? Leadership isn't just about confidence, it's about overcoming burnout, responsibility, and unseen challenges. Ascendancy Awakened delivers a powerful framework to help you take command of your life and career with the Ascendancy Action System, a transformational approach to unlocking your full potential. Don't wait. Get your copy today. Visit singpowerupcoach.com now.
I'm Tristan, a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader. I help unravel spiritual ideas to create change and growth in your life. Whether you are just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. I work with high-vibe, lovely people like yourself in personalized sessions that will leave you with a sense of clarity that energizes you to make impactful change. Connect with me, your pragmatic shaman bestie, at musingsandmodalities.com.
Do you want to become a host? Start your own podcast to inspire, persuade, and influence others on what you're passionate about? At the Transformation Network, we can help make your talk radio dreams happen. Let's take your hopes, dreams, and passions and put them on air today. Email us at host@transformationtalkradio.com to learn more about becoming a host of your very own show.
We're back on Passion of the Soul. I'm your host, Ellena Lieberman. And now we're going to ask some questions. Now let me explain that we used a sacred prayer prior to going on this evening to access Roni's Akashic Records and to access my Akashic Records. So we're all set to go. So now you're going to hear a real question coming from me. I didn't tell Roni beforehand, and it's a really true question. And I may ask another question, depending on how it goes. We'll see what comes forward. Okay, Roni, so here's the question. And I feel like I'm letting everybody know what issues I have here, but it's a real issue. It's very difficult for me to move from one part of my life to another part of my life. I feel like I'm neglecting things. I feel like I should be in another aspect of living, that things are disorganized before it, and it's very fragmenting, and it can bring up a lot of emotions. And it's about balance. I do not feel I flow in balance to the different areas of my life. And let me add that this has been an issue for a long time. So whatever you're getting, it would be really appreciated.
So what I receive about this first is that you are overwhelming yourself by putting all of this together into one ball of energy by saying, in this area, I'm not doing this, and in that area, I'm not doing that, and I should be doing this. And the should pertains back to old judgments and perceptions that may have come to you from our childhood, our family life. So to support yourself, to assist yourself in this is, first, break these down into what may appear to be smaller tasks. That if you have one thing where you're feeling that you should have done something or you didn't do it, work with that first. Try not to allow the conversation about, well, I also have to do this and I didn't do that, and so on and so forth. You're amassing this negative energy when you have the capacity and the power to dismantle it. And it looks like, you have a ball of yarn that's all tangled up,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get it all apart so that you can do something with it. So how do you do that? You take one part of it and you work with that part and start pulling the threads out. And then when it feels and looks like it's manageable, you move to the next thing and do that. Because what happens is when you see the one knot of yarn in the whole mass of yarn, your mind or your emotional body immediately absorbs the whole mass, so it looks like it's bigger than it is.
I want to move deeper in this because you really hit something, a deeper question, that when I'm really confronted with that, you said that I don't feel that I have the power to deal with it. I feel like it's larger than me and I don't have that power. And I feel like I feel very diminished of power when looking at this movement through the whole. But I do understand what you're saying about like taking one knot at a time when you're untangling things and focusing there. But that I still have an awareness, like weighing or causing an anxiety that I'm not doing the rest of it. I don't feel I'm empowered to do the rest or to get through it. So I just like drop it. I feel like it doesn't go. I'm not making progress on it. So what are you receiving about that and disempowerment piece?
Well, you said something interesting just now about dropping it, dropping some part of it or dropping whatever. What would happen to you if you dropped it? Quote, dropped it. What would happen to you? What's the consequence of that?
A mess. I'd be uncomfortable.
Okay. So there's something about going back to when you were younger, when you identified or experienced that sense of discomfort.
So what do I do with that? Like, it's a feeling of disorganization and not finding things, and it's a feeling of overwhelm. The task at hand is larger than I am. That's the feeling.
It's the feeling, but it's not true. So going back to that part of where you recall when you first began to experience that, see, this is also, this is sort of, it's a habit in the body. The body has been programmed to do this beyond what you're actually aware of anymore. So what they're saying is to go back to a moment or those events earlier on when you recall you first recognized or felt that and work with that. Just focus on that individually and start releasing it.
Okay, so how do I release it?
So we have tremendous toolboxes through working with the records.
Yes.
And mostly it would be the grace points and asking the records to give you some affirmations to incorporate with that. For example, they're telling me to first go to the physical grace points, releasing from the body and releasing from the cellular.
This is here.
Right. My grace points are in my
right.
left hand, the rest are on my right. I know I do it a little different than you do. But the important thing is that you want to dismantle the physical habit, aptitude, programming of how your body is responding to this first, and then your mind records it and say, oh, because it's familiar in your body already. So you want to do that first whatever you remember of it, start releasing it that way and doing the forgiveness prayer, doing the prayer that releases outside influences, and the prayer that releases energy patterns.
Oh,
Loved ones. And the big one is the energy pattern.
the energy pattern. That's the third prayer. Okay. So that would be forgiveness. That's the
Yeah.
outside influences. We're going to let go of that. We have the prayers. And then the energy pattern.
Right.
Send it on its way, basically, is what the
Yes.
prayer says.
And the energy pattern is very important because what's going on in your body is also, a particle thing. It's a cellular thing. And that has to do with frequency. So you want to get the energy, releasing the energy patterns is important for that. And just do a small piece. Don't beat yourself up because you're not doing a whole thing. Do a small piece. You don't need an elephant all at once.
Yeah. So, what else, when I start to relive it while you're talking about it, I can feel, that one of the teachers emphasizes, where are you feeling it in your body? And it's like my body shrinks in. And especially, it's like shrinking, and I don't breathe fully and presently in a deep way. So the prayers will really help that. And so thank you. And I'm going to work on that. We're not making this up. These things are really present in our lives, these kind of flows. And I am really I have the prayers and I'm going to work on that. And we're going to go on a break and then we'll pick up. I'll be doing a consultation for Roni. And, I want to let you know that you're all listening to Passion of the Soul. And when we come back, I'm going to do the consultation for Roni, and then for part of it, and then we're going to move into a big question, and that's going to be a consultation together on synthesizing and healing the chaotic world of diversity. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
Available now, Ascendancy Awakened by Pankaj Singh. Surprising Way to Successes by Leaders Unleashing Potential and Taking Command. When was the last time you checked in with yourself? Leadership isn't just about confidence. It's about overcoming burnout, responsibility, and unseen challenges. Ascendancy Awakened delivers a powerful framework to help you take command of your life and career with the Ascendancy Action System, a transformational approach to unlocking your full potential. Don't wait. Get your copy today. Visit singpowerupcoach.com now.
What if Sanctuary wasn't just a place, but a way of living? Tune into the Sanctuary Network every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern with me, Mary Ellen Popick, for inspiring conversations featuring thought leaders, healers, authors, and everyday seekers, plus voices from the Sanctuary Marketplace, spotlighting the community that makes this movement thrive. This isn't just a show, it's your sanctuary. Visit thesanctuarynetwork.com for more information.
I'm Tristan, a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader. I help unravel spiritual ideas to create change and growth in your life. Whether you are just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. I work with high-vibe, lovely people like yourself in personalized sessions that will leave you with a sense of clarity that energizes you to make impactful change. Connect with me, your pragmatic shaman bestie, at musingsandmodalities.com.
Do you want to become a host? Start your own podcast to inspire, persuade, and influence others on what you're passionate about? At the Transformation Network, we can help make your talk radio dreams happen. Let's take your hopes, dreams, and passions and put them on air today. Email us at host@transformationtalkradio.com to learn more about becoming a host of your very own show.
We're back on Passion of the Soul. And Roni, will you please give us your information again so we can contact you for private consultations and ordering the Mandala of the Soul prints and private commissions?
It is best to contact me through my email address, Roni, R-O-N-I, at mandalaofthesoul.studio. My website is up. It is not completely done yet, but you may have a chance to see some of the other mandalas, and that is mandalaofthesoul.studio.
Thank you. And now we're going to continue our individual consultation, and then we're going to the larger question that we're going to be receiving on after that, which is synthesizing and healing the chaotic world of diversity, and see what comes through on that. But Roni, go ahead and ask your question now, and let's see what comes forward on that.
My question is, well, before I begin with this question, let me just say that if you receive through the records another way or format to ask this question, please go ahead and tell me that or let me know or move into it. My question is, how can I heighten my abilities to hear my own inner voice and guidance?
What I'm receiving very clearly through the records, and incidentally, we use levels of consciousness that we call masters, teachers, and loved ones. We're using Roni's masters, teachers, and loved ones, but it is all the Akashic Records. And what I'm seeing very clearly here are little conduits that are coming in, and they've always been coming in, but you're so used to them from childhood that you didn't know what that was. So it's to understand that you've always been this child of the universe and trying to fit in, because you sensed it from a higher place, and it didn't take form or shape in your personality. It was not something that you could understand as a child. You knew you were good at art, you knew you were creative, but you didn't know this connection. You know, the conduits almost look like a broad crown that's sparkling, like a crown on a person, even though it's an energetic. And that it's like receiving the higher crown coming down through this dimension and stating that I am ready to receive it. I embrace it is very important, and that no matter how it comes in, to be still. It's like the crown is hovering on top of you, and then it's finally on top of you, like you're being crowned. And that's a very clear, and the next thing is that it's very brilliant. It sparkles. So it's a question of when you rotate that crown, what aspect do you see? You can actually say, show me, rotate the crown for me so I can see the fuller picture of who I am for my soul or spirit. Because that's where you are truly crowned, and also that's where you receive the blessings. The blessings are an internal, showering, beautiful array of light, of sound, of tone. It's a glorious thing. And here's another piece. When you were a child, you were so concerned actually about, well, I don't feel like I fit in. Where do I fit in? So you went here and there, that it blocked the loving glory of who you truly were. You couldn't see your expansive being. But you had glints of it when you created something. But now what it turns out, what I'm really hearing is that the mandala form, because it has so much that draws in detail, all of it is a reflection back of what you were always receiving. Even as a child, all these little things, but you didn't know where to put it. You didn't know really how to act. You tried different stuff. You went here, you went there, but now you realize this was always you. So even the mandalas that you're doing truly for others is coming from this amazing flow, like tributaries of light. That's the real you. It comes from the real you, even though it's like a mirror that you're giving out to someone else. And there's a very glorious, expansive quality to it that you just had to do a certain life journey to get here. So that's what I'm receiving. So to be still and just receive it and be excited that the glory is coming to you. That's how I receive it.
So stillness is a key to this. Is that correct? Being still.
It's stillness, but if you were to win an award and you were in a line, I'm being shown this in the records. If you were to win an award and you were in the line, you'd be going like this, and you'd be very still, waiting for your turn to get this award. So it's the stillness, it's the anticipation. You're clear, you're still, and you don't know what that award will be exactly this time, but it's like, I'm waiting, I'm open, I'm going to get this award any minute. And that's the stillness. It's like an excited stillness that they're talking about right now for you. And there is a feeling of a great reward with it. There really is.
I just want to say to you that, and you could not have known this because I didn't tell you this, but today, earlier in the day, I was reading some material by one of the teachers I'm reading that was saying something very similar to what you just gave me.
Good. Now you're really hearing.
It had to do with a slightly different aspect of my life, but it was telling me that, I'm pretty good at being still, but then I also get impatient, and that's where I start sometimes losing that ability to really, I double guess myself and so on and so forth, what a lot of people do. But it's like, okay, you better hear this because this is the second time it's coming to you.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a synchronicity that the divine wants you to hear about. That excitement. Yeah, wonderful.
Yes, I'm using my grace point to anchor that in, as we say.
Yeah, that's called the grace point, to anchor it in. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you.
It has a lot of significance to me. It really does.
Wonderful. Yeah. That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
So now we have a little time before our break. Let's get a real big question going for a little bit. And what are we receiving about this healing of the chaotic world of diversity? It's very extreme. I mean, we don't have to tell you how extreme. The whole peoples don't like these peoples and all this, and they're for that, and they're way over here, and it's completely diverse. They're all saying different things, and it's very confusing in this kind of chaos. So, Roni, what are they telling you about this?
Well, actually, while you were saying that, I got this little wording, wasn't exactly a voice, saying, see how you call this chaos, how is your perception around this? When you're building a house or making a garden, you have to bring all the materials in and clear the space for it and dig up the soil and do all these things, which, if you did not know what the purpose was, would look chaotic because it can be messy. So that's one thing. That's one thing. That's something simply to think about. But the other thing that comes up to me is, I think it was Gandhi who said, be the example in the world of how you want the world to be. And I'm paraphrasing it, I'm sure. We all have to do our own inner work. That if we cannot make somebody else think another way or do another thing differently than what they're doing for whatever reason or purpose their life path is giving to them. What we can do is bring ourselves into a loving, non-judgmental clarity and hold space for everybody else to move into that kind of thing for themselves.
I just want to say very quickly, and we'll be going on a break soon, but very quickly, one of the images I'm getting, which is from a little different perspective, and certainly everything that Roni's saying makes a lot of deep sense to me, is that I'm seeing all different elements, like elements that are separated, they bear outwardly no resemblance to one another, and they start spinning. They start spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and they become one, like a whirl, one huge element, and then they start shining. That it takes all of those things to make them have vital force. It takes all of these elements moving together. And then when I see that, I see this spinning, it almost reminds me of when you see a brilliant ornament actually on a tree, but it just starts to glow. The spinning starts to glow and glow as one mass. So what does it takes a vision to keep seeing that light that's functioning, spinning, giving life as one. And it takes a leap up that you see that as one at the end of the tunnel, no matter how diverse it looks, that exists when there is this unified sense of life that is beyond the fragment that we see. And that's the image that I'm given. We're going to take a little break right now. So we're going on the break right now, and in the next part, after we do this, Roni is going to show you 2 prints of mandalas that are available. Her newest one is called Vision of the Destiny of America. That's going to be the first one, and it's specially priced now because it's a new release. The second one is going to be called Relationship, which is now an edition on giclée print. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
Tired of feeling exhausted as a parent? I would love to help you with a new vision for yourself that is focused on intentional wellness parenting. My name is Orly Cormier, and I have over 40 years' experience with complex cancer patients. I offer consultations, coaching, and educational programs for parents who want to boost their health and reduce risk of disease, especially cancer. For more information, go to orlycormier.com.
Tune into the Dr. Diane Show, where we explore revolutionary expansion of mind, body, and soul every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. I bring over 20 years of expertise as a mindset warrior, perspective shifter, and unshakable optimist dedicated to helping you reach your wildest dreams in business, health, performance, and relationships. Join the discussion on the show. Learn more about me, Dr. Diane, and receive a free digital copy of my magazine at naturalnutmeg.com.
Tune in to Break Free and Trust, a redesign for living with me, Jacqueline.
And me, Chris, on Transformation Talk Radio, every second and fourth Monday at 3 p.m.
Learn to connect with your intrinsic power to grow and to heal, and how to laugh at your own humanness and not take life too seriously.
Witness the field of potential that arises when you take personal responsibility and become the divine creator in your own life.
Visit theway-healing.com for more information.
What if justice wasn't just about systems, but about the soul? Join us on the Spiritual Justice Show with me, Eric S. Lee, on the Transformation Network each first and third Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. We bring together leaders, healers, and change makers to explore a new vision of justice, restorative, transformative, and deeply spiritual. Find out how spiritual justice could be your missing piece to transformation.
Welcome back. I'm Ellena Lieberman with Passion of the Soul, and author of Dynamic Manifestation as received through the Akashic Records. And for specials for me, and the special Dynamic Manifestation Akashic Record consultation, you can contact me at dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. I'd love to hear from you. So now we're going to be showing Roni's magnificent mandalas, and the first one is what I'll just call the American one, or the Healing of America, Destiny of America. And we're going to bring that up now, and she is going to describe some of the main features of it in interpretation. So go ahead, Roni. And I think that's up. Yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, this mandala depicts partially what you actually just received through the records. The idea that there is a core of light coming out, and around that is the Sarashara, which is the ultimate enlightenment of the crown chakra, final enlightenment in that. And those are the spirals that are going around. But beyond that is the sacred geometry of the tetrahedron. And beyond that are angelic wings that are the guardians of the country, of the population, and of the advancement of the nation, or the energies of the nation. One of the prime things of it is that there's a circle of hands going around midway in the circle, and those hands are one reaching out to the other, and on top of each one, they're all different colors, and they have golden hearts coming out. And that is the example of reaching out, being together, and collaborating or assisting one another. And around the outer is the Liberty lamp that the Statue of Liberty holds, which one sees as one approaches the country from the sea. Our famous, the Liberty Torch.
That's fantastic, Roni. And a little later, we'll tell everyone how they can get those prints. But now, if you'll bring up the relationship print now. Okay, is that up now? Okay. So, Roni, do you want to describe this is really different from the
Yes.
other one. Yeah, that's amazing that you come up with all of this. So
Yes.
go ahead and describe this gorgeous relationship print.
Well, truth be said, as you pointed out, it's amazing that they're all different. And that's only because the Akashic Records are the guidance for all of these. And they really lead me into the imagery, colors, and everything, the symbols that come out. So this mandala denotes a loving relationship. And if you look closely at it, you will see that there are dual symbols everywhere. There are hearts that are intertwined. There are lotuses opening, receiving diamonds, diamonds representing a very clear and pure energy and a very eternal energy because diamonds last a very long time. And there are more than one sets of hearts on top of one another and next to each other. And they're all circling the center of the divine light. And so the importance of it is that the colors are beautiful and they're jewel gem tone. So there's a kind of purity and loving connection that's communicated through the mandala.
Well, that's fantastic. And I mean, it's so infinite and possibilities when we access the Akashic Records. They're beautiful, beautiful pieces of art. So, Roni, do you have a quick closing message before I read this other wonderful message?
Well, it's been wonderful to be on here, Ellena. Thank you so much. And excellent reading. I am really appreciative of it. And it certainly I did feel myself resonate with it. There's a deep understanding to it, which, I didn't reveal, but it means a great deal to me. And I think that, we are all moving forward in a high level and in a heartfelt way. And that's what we have to remember. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
We loved having you on the show and your beautiful artwork. Thank you so much. And I just want to read something and then I'll tell you who wrote it. You may guess. This is in some of our material. The Akashic Records are not about finding out what is wrong with us. They are not about fixing ourselves or only used for clearing and uplifting. At their very deepest level, they are to show us how connected to God we really are, how loved we really are, and how magnificent we really are. They assist in our return to our genius, our creativity, our living in the light, our capacity to love, our strength and endurance. They show us our courage and holiness. If we use the Akashic Records to only clear earthly issues without seeing and revealing to ourselves the balancing brilliance, then we have yet to go deeper. This was received by Roni in a vision, and we have incorporated it into our materials in the classes that we teach for Akashic Records Consultants International. I want to thank you all for tuning into Passion of the Soul, and I really had a wonderful time. And Roni, please give us your contact information one more time so listeners can contact you for the beautiful mandalas or consultations.
Please contact me primarily at my email address, Roni, R-O-N-I, at mandalaofthesoul, all one word, .com. No, I am sorry. It's mandalaofthesoul.studio. That's okay. Roni at mandalaofthesoul.studio.
And if you'd like to contact me, I'm at dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. Please join me the first and third Thursday of each month, 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. Next time, on September 3rd, join me for my show, The Melody of Unbridled Light. See you then. Thank you for being with us today. I'm your host, Ellena Lieberman. Be sure to tune in every first and third Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio for more Passion of the Soul, where we connect with brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries who have walked miraculous journeys. Continue the experience at dynamicmanifestation.com. And if today moved you, share the show and like us on social media so others can awaken their authentic potential too. Until next time, listen deeply, trust your innermost wisdom, and live your passion of the soul.